Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, the elder bishops in Connecticut, you brothers in the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson, and it says, this is the breaking news. Lord, Lord Jacob Rothschild passed away, right? At 87. And all you need to know about the financer and banking family. Sion. Wow. So, this is Jacob Rothschild, the banker and philanthropist who left a family bank to build on his own financial empire in the city of London, has died at the age of 87. Yeah, he built it with his family in where? In London, right? London, England, which proved to you that those, you know, Amalek has been running the world from Britain, right? The elder Malcolmuth, the great, you know, beloved elder Malcolmuth from Chicago, had basically exposed the whole law, you know, them having to abide by the bar, and the bar bring the British Association, was it the British Association Registry, right? Which America, which is supposed to so-called fought against Britain and won their independence, have to obey the bar, which is the British Association Registry. So, and these, we know that these people, they've been running everything from London going into Israel, right, where you got plenty of streets and everything named after the Rothschilds, because the Rothschilds bought a significant part of that land of Israel in around the time of World War One, right? Because they were gonna come in and basically be Quakers, right? They're gonna just occupy the land and claim it for themselves, right? And this is where they came up. This is what started World War One and World War Two, is them trying to establish themselves in that land, which ultimately is going to start World War Three, because they're trying to expand that land by removing the Palestinians out of that land, and I guess, hey, that's what's going to start World War III. Okay? Okay, yeah. So this is susakhouse.com. Wow. susakhouse.com says as you can see the map right there, Lebanon, right, which says Rothschild land purchased in early Israel. Says the family owned more than 90,000 acres, or 400,000 dumas, in the Jezreel Valley in Pakistan, Palestine, Shalakia, Pakistan, Palestine, Shalakia, Palestine, which, which, why they believe they could just go in there and destroy, Palestine, and basically get back what they so-called purchased, right? Having purchased it from Oman authority, Oman authority authorities in their dealing with the empire, evident of the remarkable concentration of wealth accumulated by the Susaks, who already owned tens of thousands of acres of the fine land in the region, and can be found in records detailing their su, su, ten, su, tain, purchase of numerous new valleys every year in 1906. So 1906, this is well before World War One, right? The Sutak family sold land in Palestine to the the Bar Barun Baron or Baron Edmund D. Rothschild, right? So-called Jewish nationalist founder, founded with documents relieving that in 1929, under British mandate, the Susak sold the majority of their holdings to Baron, how do you say it? Baron or Baron, Baron, right? So the majority. So there's proof that majority of all the Palestine belongs to them. So if they believe that all that Palestine belongs to them, then what was it Vladimir or Putin, if I'm saying it correctly, he said that what he's doing is the same thing as the Jewish is doing. Is just claiming back their land. So how could he be considered as a criminal or whatever they're trying to make him to be a bad guy, right? All meanwhile they're doing the exact same thing, right? Yeah. So this is the Britannica, right? World War I, right? Because basically, like I was saying, um, everything that they ever done in that land caused a major war. Yeah. And then it says during the War One, a great power made a number of decisions concerning the future of Palestine without much regard to the wishes of the indigenous inhabitants of the Palestinian, whatever, however you say it, Arabs. However, believe that the Great Britain, had promised them independence in the how do you say it? Haneas Mac Mac Macman correspondence to Lakia, in exchange of letters from um, July 1915 to March 1916 between Sir Henry Macron or Macmon, British High Commissioner in Egypt, High Man I and Allah Ali, then Emir of Mecca, in which the British made certain commitments to Slovakia, certain commitments commitments to the Arabs to return to their support against the Ottomans during the war. The Ottoman Turks. something like that. The Ottoman Turks, I think that's what they're talking about, during the war. Yet, by May of 1916, Great Britain, France, and Russia had reached an agreement the, what was it? How you say that? Sykes-Picot Agreement. Right? According to which entire the bulk of Palestine was to be internationalized. Right? Basically, it's going to be theirs. Right? But that's crazy. Russia had a part of that. Right? Which Russia had a great part of a lot of the wars that's been going on. Even Vladimir Putin himself said that he helped during the time against the what were they calling them? They were calling them the Taliban, right? Against the Taliban, right? Against ISIS. Yep, he said he helped. He said he helped against ISIS, right? In the interview. So these are people. Hey, man, this thing gets deeper than you know, right?
According to Al Jazeera, the Balfour Declaration is widely seen as the precursor to the 1948 Palestinian Nakba, when Zionist armed groups, who were trained by the British, forcibly
It's been 100 years since the British government issued the Balfour Declaration, a document that would later become a cornerstone for the creation of the State of Israel. But why is Britain celebrating its colonial legacy while glossing over the 100 years of conflict that followed? Let's go back to November 2nd, 1917, when British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour sent a letter to Lord Walter Rothschild, a leader in the British Zionist Federation. Balfour's letter expressed sympathy for Jewish Zionist aspirations at the heart of Zionism, a political ideology calling for Jews to return to Palestine. The Balfour Declaration said the UK would use their best endeavors to facilitate the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. So on that date, Zionism became an official objective of Britain's foreign policy. But the British had no legal authority to establish a home or a state for anyone in land.
Right. They don't have a problem just saying it. You know what? They didn't have a legal home, and they're doing this like this whole little documentary, like, oh yeah, everything's fine, right? Everything's just fine. Everything's just peachy keen, and you could just say all this madness, right? And everything be fine. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing could be just said. You know, just, hey, by the way, this how Israel, the Israelis, got their thing, but you know what? You need to have compassion on them when it comes to the so-called Holocaust, right? But you basically murdered, killed, and moved people out of their land, Slovakia. Move people out of their land, right? And then basically the Balfour Declaration is a policy that you wrote, right? So it says Micah chapter 2, verse 1, woe unto him that devise, right, which means to create, right? The Balfour Declaration was a creation of your mind, right? The creation of your heart, right? That devise iniquity, right? And it's an evil thing to come move people from out of their borders, man, because the scriptures tell you about moving a man's borders, man. You're not supposed to move a man from his borders, and work evil upon their beds, because he just said it wasn't in their power, but we're gonna give you this land anyway. We don't own it; it ain't in our power. But guess what? We're gonna go ahead and put you there anyway, right? Upon their beds, right? And the bed being what? This is their rulership, right? Right? They're at rest, right? Right? It says yeah, so this is Psalms 73 and 4, for their, which to prove that they're in their bed, right? Going into their bed meaning their rulership, right? Because it says, for this is Psalms 73 and 4, for there is no bands in their death, right? Because it seemed like they don't die. They don't die like how we die. You know, old poor Uncle. Hey, what was it? Even Bone Thugs, old poor Uncle Charlie. Even God's got him, right? Hey, we're, you know, we die of AIDS and heart attacks and syphilis and you know, diabetes. You know, old poor Uncle James was, you know, because I remember this happened in the 90s. The guy dropped his own wallet, went to pick up his own wallet, and the police blew his ass away for trying to pick up his own wallet. Right? See, they don't have that type of shit going on, right? The little baby was playing outside with his little toy gun. Kids play with toy guns. You mean the little boy had to get blown away for playing with a toy gun? And see, we gotta even teach our kids different. We go, oh no, don't do that. We better paint our kids' toys red and blue and, you know, all these other colors. Or we better make sure it looks like a toy. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain way you gotta teach your children. You gotta tell them how to behave. No, we can't do that, because, you know, folk like us, we get in trouble, we get arrested, we get thrown out. You know. See, these folk, they ain't going through that, right? So there's no bands in their death, but their strength is firm, right? Right? They form that military, put that military together and say, hey, look, we're gonna move you into Palestine, whether they like it or love it or accept it, believe it or not, it's gonna happen, right? It says, for they are not in trouble as other men, right? Which goes into them being at rest, right? In your bed, you're at rest. When you're not in trouble as other men, you're at rest. You're not worried. You're not looking over your shoulder. See, you know, like I met a couple people from LA, and they be like, man, LA is crazy. Like, he literally, you go this way, it's a gang. It's another gang that'll kill you. You go this way, it's another gang on that side that'll kill you. You go this way, it's another gang. So you on all four sides, and you go east, west, north, south. There's a total different hood from your hood, and they don't like your hood, right? Whether you actually bang that hood or not, they know you live in that neighborhood. So a lot of kids join the gang just because they were gonna get beat up anyway. So I might as well join the gang if I have to go through the pain and anguish regardless. At least I might as well join the gang, and at least when I join the gang, I'll get some backup, right? You know what I mean? But they don't have to go through that, right? Little Edomite kids, especially the rich, right? But regular Edomite kids, right? These self-proclaimed so-called white people ain't got to go through that, man, right? But you do, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Therefore, what's like they're not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men, right? Like I said, they ain't got gout, diabetes, you know what I'm saying? All these different things, you know what I mean? Plaguing their neighborhood, gangs, drugs, homosexuality, lesbianism. These are the things that plague our neighborhood, man, right? Therefore, pride compasseth him, right? So he's like, yeah, yeah, look at them niggas over there. Yeah, we'll see them being rich at the Black Wall Street, and really there was a lot of so-called black towns, Rosewood, and all these other black towns that they had to go kill and burn them down because you Jakes were living better. You always had a hustle greater than Esau's, right? That's the reason why Isaac wanted to give the blessing to Esau, because he seen Esau didn't have no hustle, right? And the lowest condition you were in slavery. They redlined you. They even put get released from slavery. They write a law saying no loitering. But somehow you come from all these different things, being put in the devil's punch bowl and all these other things, and somehow you become wealthy in this, and they come through and fly over with military planes. And not only did they did that in the Black Wall Street, they did that in Philadelphia, where and this was in the 80s. I wish more people would talk about the bombing in Philadelphia in the 80s. That was only 40 years. That's within my lifetime, right? Forget what you call Black Wall Street. Let's really dig into that one and bomb you, man. And then turn around and tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Because why? They're in their pride. Because look, they say, hey, look. It says, and neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore, their pride compasseth about them. Their pride compasseth them about as a chain. And what? And violence, right? And that's what they're all about. This was this whole Balfour Declaration. This was the whole thing of conquering America, conquering Europe, right? Because Jakes was ruling Europe for 1,000 years. So conquering Europe, conquering America, and then going over there and conquering the Palestine, right? But this is all for the Most High's purpose, though. So it says, and their pride compasseth them about as a chain, and violence cover them as a garment, right? So this proved that they're upon their beds, because it says they're not in trouble as other men, right? It says when the morning is light, which basically means this dealing with them being the Illuminati, man. Right, the light bearer, right, Lucifer, right. That's Isaiah 12, real quick. Yeah, Salakia, yeah, Isaiah 14:12, right, because it says, how are thus fallen from heaven, right, which dealing with their rulership, being upon their beds and their rulership, which the earth is dealing with. I mean, the heaven is talking about is them ruling over the earth, right? Job 9 and 24, right? Yeah, Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, right? And the judges are the Israelites, right? The true judges of the world are the true Israelites, right? Which are you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? Which really are not which are not Black. You're not Hispanic, and you're not Indian. You're the Israelites, man. You're the true judges, right? right? Angels, right? Gods, right? Upon the earth, right? We're just in this sinful flesh right now. This chains of death, right? Because we have to die, because we put on that. They took on that sin that Adam fell by, right? But the Lord is finna restore us back into that new body where we're not gonna die. We're gonna be uncorruptible, right? But it says, and he covered the faces of the judges thereof, and the greatest judge there is Yahweh Shai, right? That's why it tells you in the Revelations that in the place where our Lord was crucified, where was he crucified? It wasn't like he was actually crucified, but he was X'd out. He was. Then you made the true image of woolly hair and skins the color of bronze, as if it burnt in the furnace, right? And you burn anything, it turns black. So you made that null and void, and you push your image, right? That's you X'd them out. So the greatest judge is Yahweh Shai, who the world only calls Jesus Christ, which in this world you would call him a black man or a nigger, right? But that's why he's coming back very angry to judge this world. Thereof, if not, where and who is he? If it wasn't a so-called white man that done this thing, who else has done this type of deed, right? Who has done this type of deed? Who else is ruling the world, right? It says, how are thus fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? And Lucifer goes into what? Light bearer, man. That's what it goes into. That word means light bearer. Light bearer just means someone who's holding the light. If there's darkness, right, which the scriptures tell you that there's gross darkness in this world, they're saying that they have the light. They're the not illuminate. To illuminate means to have light, to shine light, right? But they're saying that they have a light in a very, very dark place, right? But the greatest light is the truth through Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? Because it's like even the scriptures say, yeah. So this is Matthew chapter 6 verse 22. The light of the body is the eye, right? Which dealing with your mind, the eye sound, your mind, right? Dealing with the spirit, your spiritual mind, your spiritual eye, right? Not your actual eyes, talking about the spiritual eye, being able to be keen, to be able to see in the spirit. If therefore thy eye be single, right? Which means focus, right? Singular focus, one agenda at a time. Focus on the task at hand, right? Thy whole body shall be full of light, right? Dealing with the spirit and dealing with it fully. Not turn to the right hand, not turn to the left, right? Right? But if thy eye, right, your mind, your spirit, be evil, you got an evil spirit, right? Thy whole body shall be full of darkness, right? Your whole agenda is evil, and that's Esau. His whole thing, he's full of violence. So his whole agenda is evil, man. And if therefore the light that is in thee, right? And this is them, because they saying, hey, we're the Illuminati. We have light. We have the light. So therefore, that the light that is in thee be darkened, right? Because you may have had light at one time, right? Because when you go back all the way back to Genesis, right, which is Cain, right, Kwayan, which means weapon, which is the spirit of Esau. At one time, he had the dark skin. He had to follow the law, statutes, and commandments at one time, but in his anger, what he slew a man, right? He slew his own brother, right? In jealousy, which is the same thing he do now. He slay you so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Indians in jealousy, man. He wants the blessing. He wants the blessing. Even hey, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So it says that is in thee. So if there be light that is in thee, be darkness. Now how great is that darkness, right? So you call that little light that you have, but it's really darkness, it's wickedness. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. So it says, so how are thus fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how are thus cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, in which they went around the world taking people's land, taking people's gold, their oil, their diamonds, their uranium, petroleum, which is oil, right? Whatever they could take from you, right? Oh, hey, and even the souls of men, right? Because let's not forget that there's still, it's not just child slavery or sex slavery. There's still just plain out slavery that these people do, right? Right. So now you know that goes into them being what? Lucifer, being the Illuminati, right? Says that they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, and they covet fields, right? Going into what we're talking about, because before that, what was they doing? They were buying the field. They were buying Palestine up, right? Watch, because you're going to see in the video, they're going to say allies came, and there were allies that helped them. No, it wasn't no ally. They were already, well, they had a couple allies, right? Russia being one of them, France, England, America, of course. So, they had a couple allies help them. So it says they covet fields and take them by violence, right? World War I, World War II is violence. That's how they got it. By World War II, they got into the land, right? And houses and take them away, and they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, right? So all the ways that those people were living at that at one point in time, they came over there and just totally dismembered a lot of those people in the way that they lived, right? And killed those people and just took over. Lord Balfour, who has, you just heard it, he didn't own the land. He basically had no rights. But he said they went in there and conquered the land, right? So that's violence.
Calling for Zionist Federation. Balfour's letter expressed sympathy for Jewish Zionist aspirations at the heart of Zionism, a political ideology calling for Jews to return to Palestine. The Balfour Declaration said the UK would use their best endeavors to facilitate the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. So on that date, Zionism became an official objective of Britain's foreign policy. But the British had no legal authority to establish a home or a state for anyone in lands that they didn't own. A land where 92% of the local population were Muslims and Christians who were never consulted. Even though they didn't own the land, the British would soon control it. The lines on the map were in flux. That's because, well, World War I was going on, and British Allied troops were advancing on Palestine. Just a few weeks after the Balfour Declaration.
Right. And we seen the article where it was saying that they were actually buying the land before World War I even happened. They were already buying parts of the land, so it had nothing to do with no allies, man. They already was buying some of the land, But then, like I said, they did have allies, right? It's going to go into some of their allies.
Was issued, British General Edmund Allenby conquered Jerusalem. The British Prime Minister at the time, David Lloyd George, called its capture a Christmas present for the British people. During the war, the UK made a number of promises that it wouldn't keep. One was to the Sharif of Mecca, Hussein bin Ali. He's the great-great-grandfather of Jordan's King Abdullah II. Britain promised their support for a single, independent, and unified Arab state. And in return, he agreed to be part of a revolt against the Ottoman Caliphate. A second commitment was made to France under a secret agreement between colonial powers to divide up the Middle East between them. Under the Sykes-Picot Agreement, Palestine would be an international zone, but the agreement wasn't honored later on. Britain wanted Palestine for itself. Then came the third commitment to the British Zionist Federation. Now, this is the one that the British actually honored. Its ambiguous language created problems, but it was a deliberate choice to use the word home rather than state in the declaration. Each of the 5 official drafts of the declaration were carefully reviewed by the Foreign Office. The Zionist project
it says, see, he's lying, because it's actually the state of Israel, not the home of Israel. Right? It's the state. The Balfour Declaration names them and says that they're a state. See?
Palestine was one way for the British government to resolve the problem of growing anti-Semitism in Europe. It would also protect Britain's...
And there was no growing anti-Semitism in Europe. It was all created. Those are false flags. Pretty much what they're doing now. Right? Yeah, all those are false flags. Those are false flags. Right?
interests throughout the region. After the war, the 5 colonial powers at the time, the UK, France, Italy, the US, and Japan, gave Britain a mandate for Palestine. The British government and the Zionist movement made sure it included the wording of the Balfour Declaration. It then became international law, and the Balfour Declaration became a legal obligation for Britain. The British Mandate of Palestine would last for 30 years, a land that was called Palestine by Europeans, Palestine by Arabs, and Eretz Israel, or Land of Israel, in Hebrew. There's a part of the Balfour Declaration.
Well, yeah, there you go. So, with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, right? Salutations to the Akim in the Four Winds, the elder bishops in Connecticut, the brothers in the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball.